Are there really expats living on 500 US dollars a month in the Philippines? Asks a browser. You hear that all the time. I live like a king on 500 a month here. But I'm wondering if that happens. I mean, you are basically a local at that point. How can you even keep up with your visa extension on that? Would your life living on $500 a month in the Philippines actually be better than the United States? I mean, at least in the US, you'd get government assistance if your income were that low. The short answer is yes, there are people living on $500 a month. But the more extended answer, no, they're not living like a king at all. Whatever they tell you is to comfort themselves. Diver Are You Okay says, I took off a year from law school to get sober and scuba dive back in 2016. I spent almost all of it in the Philippines working as a dive master, making 500 US dollars a month. I definitely didn't live like a king, but it was enough to get by, at least in Puerto Galera. Although, if I was having to pay to dive, it wouldn't have been nearly enough. It was enough for me for one-bedroom apartment with a massive balcony right on the ocean, meals and limited entertainment and dining out. When you see random influencers like talking about stuff like this online, take it with a huge grain of salt. Unless you are living in an incredibly remote and a rural area, you're not going to be living a luxurious Western lifestyle at that income level. Assuming that's even possible that far out in the first place is called engagement bait. Precisely. They know people will select the video to watch because either they want to believe it's possible or they realize it's complete bullshit and they want to see exactly how wrong the quote influencer is. Votes don't equate to truth says 2016 is 10 years ago. A massive difference in pricing since then. Precisely. Not only that, things have changed drastically. Also, 10 years ago was a whole different world. Prices have gone up minimum 300% on nearly everything. So in reality, you were living on 1,500 USD in some remote area and working long hours. I don't consider that living like a king. Dikias says, I had the same experience with the same job, but back in 2011, 500 was enough. My expenses at the time were around 5,000 pesos for a small nipa hut on the beach with one room and a bathroom surrounded by jungle and, of course, the sea. As for food, lunch was free at the resort where I worked, and I paid for dinner with an employee discount. The rest of my money went towards having fun. Considering that working at the resort meant 12-hour shifts, sometimes for 20 days straight, and being completely exhausted afterwards, that amount of money was more than enough. 14 years ago, and having your meals subsidized or being free does not equate to living like a king after working 12-hour days. Would you mind sharing your budget, says someone else? Stardiff says 500 is basically the household income of a Metro Manila family with 2 minimum wage jobs. Unless by a king you mean a king from ancient times who would consider indoor plumbing, electricity, internet, and canned food luxurious, no one is living like a king in the Philippines on 500 a month. Existing is more like it. These vloggers who tout this need to be flogged. Those YouTube videos of the poor guys who come here and get sick or become homeless are really sad. People don't really have an understanding of how Filipinos struggle. The next two people say yes, it's possible. Still Music says, yes, it's very possible to live on $500 a month or less. Been doing that for the last 9 years. Together with my wife, built new house, have a car plus scooter, 3-bedroom house, 2 bathrooms, have aircon and only master bedroom, have hot water heaters for showers, cable TV, unlimited internet, refrigerator. Also have a generator connected directly to the house. Wife pays for health insurance, voluntary social security. With all of this plus food and some travel and visa extensions, still easily keep it under 500 a month. Of course, I have no debts or anything and everything's paid for. We are not slumming it, but not living like rich either. It is possible. Live in a coastal city with population near 200,000 people. Simple information says, yes, you most certainly can live here for $500 a month. It's not a glamorous lifestyle and occasionally you'll have emergencies or need that require you to spend more. Yet, for the most part, 500 is very doable. I have a family of 3 and we live off of 500 or less. We have a 2-story home, cell phones, internet, power, and everything else we need. We only eat out a few times a month and use a trike to get around. 15 pesos per trip. I think if you want to come here and live smart, live like a normal Filipino, then yes, you can. If you're moving to Manila, BGC, live like an American in the Philippines, then that's going to be near impossible. Both of you need to do a better job reading or paying attention. The question wasn't if you can live in the Philippines for $500 in some remote area. It was asking if you could actually live here for $500 and live like a king. And no, you cannot. Of course, you can live on less than 100 if you want to live like a Filipino person. We are not talking about Filipino lifestyle because that is third world standards. Able equivalent says, I wouldn't call it living, but existing off this amount? Probably. Those weird FMs walking around with dead eyes, face tattoos, and wearing wife beaters in public are the ones existing half of this amount. It's a sad life. No ambition, no confidence, no belief in yourself. Just scraping by in a third world country. In 2025, it's not living. You can survive on it. Just don't get sick. Have a girlfriend. Sleep in a hammock. In a year-round heat, eat the local diet if you can. You can live that cheap in any developed country. The world, if you want to live like Tom Hanks, can Castaway. I personally do not see how that would be possible, even if you owned a house or condo and car straight out, no payments. Utilities alone would cost a minimum $300. Electricity, water, internet. From experience, I lived in a 2-bedroom condo with 2-window AC units, a refrigerator, a computer. My electric bill was never under 7,000 pesos. High-speed internet was like 2 to 3K. Water pretty minimal at 500 pesos. That would have maybe 200 a month for everything else. Not going to happen. I would say you can live like a king on maybe 3,000 US dollars a month. To give you an idea, the Philippines versus the US, the average, this person just gives us a AI answer. Bottom line is, no, you cannot live here like a king on $500 a month. And that is the truth. Could you survive? Yes. Would you be able to do many things? No. Could you live like a king? Depends on your definition of a king. Personally, there's no way I could live on $500, and I am very minimalistic. I cannot imagine someone having a family and trying to live like a king. Even as a single person, it's impossible. Once again, depends on your definition of a king. Best comment from yesterday is from John. Beware of expat influencers who live in the Philippines. If they need money for their survival or lifestyle, they will lie a lot to confirm their hopeful viewers, wrongfully bias and peddle scam dating sites for a peso. Dumageddon is their epicenter. And there is no worst comment. Thanks for listening. God bless.